Hello everyone, what's up? Welcome back to another video, and today I've got a little bit of a Premier League predictions video for you. Really excited for this. It's gonna be lots of fun, and Easter's coming up. I might have a week off of this, so this will be fun. Haven't done one in a few months. So I'm really excited about doing this. We've got some big games coming up now as the running really kicks in. We've got fights for mainly European football, but I mean, the relegation race is still just about there. We'll be touching on that in a bit, and also some massive games such as the Manchester derby. So if you're as excited for this as I am, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload. And now let's get into it. So the first game is Everton against Arsenal's 12:30 kickoff tomorrow, and obviously pretty big gap. Arsenal's second, they're 4 points above Forest, 12 points below Liverpool. They seem like they're going to finish in second. Then Everton, they're 15th, but not really near any danger. They're 14 points clear of the drop zone. So I think at this point, Everton, they haven't got too much to play for. It's really just enjoying their stadium while it lasts. Obviously, the week before the end of the Premier League is going to be their last game. So they've got to really make the most of the iconic stadium while they can. And I think it'll be quite an interesting game. The fans are really going to be up for it. Arsenal have been doing really well, all right, you could say, for their standards. Just about beat Fulham on Tuesday, and they're doing all right. I mean, second is pretty expected for them recently. But look, I just think the fans are really going to be up for it at Goodison. And for some reason, I'm going to say draw like their first meeting this season in December. I'm going to go with 1-1. Now, this is a big game if we're talking about who will be in this league next season. Wolves versus Ipswich. So, it's at Portman Road, Ipswich. There is a 9-point gap between Ipswich in 18th and Wolves in 17th. However, when you look at it, if Ipswich do win, they'll be 6 points clear. Wolves have Tottenham left, Man U left, Man City left. They've also got like Brighton, Brentford, really tough tests. So you see a way back into it for Ipswich because they're probably going to drop lots of points. Ipswich do still have tests as well, but it's going to be very close. And I do think Ipswich are going to go down. However, I do think they're going to make it a lot closer than a lot of people will say. Now, I am going to say Ipswich get the win at Portman Road on Saturday. I think it'll be a really good game. I'm going to say a solid performance, building on from that great 2-1 victory over Bournemouth last night. Yeah, it was last night, wasn't it? And I'm actually going to go 2-0 to Wolves. I think it'll be comfortable, and they're going to manage to do the double over Wolves in the Premier League. Now, next up is the the M23 derby, Palace v Brighton. But the thing which interests me the most with this derby is they call themselves rivals, but they're not even broadcasting the match. That just shows how pointless Palace-Brighton is as a rivalry. It's like the rivalry for teams who don't have rivals. So Palace-Brighton. Palace really kicked in second half of the season. Apparently talks that Glasner's going to look into leaving the club though, and a pretty dismal performance last night against Southampton. Just a 92nd minute equaliser against a team who before last night weren't even on double figures this season. That is quite worrying. However, they're at Wembley. won 3-0 against Fulham. They've had a few solid performances. That 4-1 against Villa, and they're looking really good. Mateta's came back now, don't we know it, after that video, and they are looking good. Brighton, though, are really pushing for Europe. I had a relegation feeling about them at the start of the season. That's gone away. They are feeling like they are going to be fighting for Europe this season, and I think they could get at least Conference League. Sad to lose on penalties to Forest over the weekend in the quarters of the FA Cup, and that 3-0 loss to Villa at home wasn't very good for their morale. So I'm gonna go 2-1 to Palace, but it's meant to be a derby. It's not a derby. But I guess the fans might still be up for it. West Ham v Bournemouth. Bournemouth really dropped off in the second half of the season. First half of the season, they were fighting for Champions League football, which they might have even had to play at St Mary's. But now, as I said earlier, 2-1 loss to Ipswich. Last night. At time of recording. Bottled it against Man City after going 1-0 up in the quarter-finals. Lost it to Brentford, a draw to Tottenham, who aren't that good this season. And it just hasn't really came up for them. Don't get me wrong, they still have a solid team. They have some really good players, like Kluivert and stuff like that. But it just really hasn't came for them in the second half of the season. And then we have a look at West Ham, who like the 16th, but 14 points above relegation. It's weird. And they obviously, it's not been a great season, but really, they are safe in the league for this season. They've been solid, had some wins against Arsenal, so it will be an interesting game. And I'm gonna go. It's tough. Really tough. Last time out they drew. You know what? I'm going to say another draw. I'm going to go 2-2. The late kickoff, 5:30 kickoff on Saturday is a match between two teams who are going to Wembley for the semis. It's Villa and Forest. The crazy achievement Forest this season. They're third, and it looks like they're getting Champions League football against Villa and seventh, who are still fighting out for potentially their fifth spot. So they are well in the race for Champions League football. So it's going to be interesting. A great win for them, as I said last night, against Brighton. They are doing really good. Marcus Rashford beginning to get a few goals in. So it is quite good for them. And it is quite bright to see. And I don't think they're going to get Champions League football, but I do think they'll finish right outside that area. Don't forget, they still are in this season's Champions League in the quarter-finals, so everything's looking really positive for them. Obviously, Forest as well, doing really good, just about got to Wembley. However, I'm actually going to go 3-1 to Villa. I think they're going to win this one. So, Tottenham versus Southampton. Wow. As bad as Tottenham's been this season, they're facing Southampton, who still need a point to assure themselves they're not going to break the record. That only means they equal the record. It's really not looking good for them, considering they're only 6 points apart in the table, but 24 points apart. It is quite strange. And I just can't even give Southampton a way into this tie. And I'm going to go 3-0 to Tottenham because it just really doesn't look like Southampton can get anything out of this. But you never know. Ipswich went to Tottenham on one, so maybe. Brentford versus Chelsea. Chelsea, one of those teams fighting out for Champions League football. They're currently sixth, and presuming we've got 5 spots, then they're 1 spot away. And then you've got Brentford, who are doing pretty well. Did lose to Newcastle, but Newcastle are playing really well at the moment. And they've got some good wins apart from that. So it will be an interesting game. However, Chelsea, I think, are really gonna up their game towards the end of this season to try and get European Champions League football. They're looking like they're probably gonna win the Conference League. So I'm gonna say 1-0 to Chelsea. Fulham versus Liverpool is the next game. Liverpool look like they are all but champions of the Premier League. And then you've got Fulham, who are definitely looking at maybe a Conference League spot. They're currently 9th position, probably going to get 8 teams in Europe this season, or next season. Last time out for Fulham, they got they lost 2-1 to Arsenal. Not great. They got a consolation goal late on. So it will be a very tough tie for Fulham because they know Liverpool are basically champions. This is their only competition left. No FA Cup, no Champions League. So I'm gonna go 2-0 to Liverpool because I just can't see Liverpool losing to Fulham. But Fulham do need to up their game to try and get back into Europe. Man U versus Man City at Old Trafford. The Manchester derby, really the highlight match of this weekend. Well, it's going to be a really interesting one. Obviously, there was a winner last time out for Man U at the Etihad. Really big stuff, a 2-1 win there. And Man U have been dreadful. They are 13th. Terrible and surprising that we've got 2 Big 6 teams in the bottom half this year. And we've got Man City, who are 4th. Still not confirmed to be playing in the Champions League next season. They beat Leicester 2-0 yesterday. And they've got a few wins. They're the only Big 6 team left in the FA Cup at Wembley. There's something makes me think. I always say this with derbies. All the context of the season goes away and it's based on passion. So something makes me think Man U are gonna win. No. I'm gonna say 1-1. I'm going for another draw. Yeah. At Old Trafford, they managed to win at the Etihad in December. I'm going to say 1-1, Man U, Man City. And then finally, Leicester v Newcastle, who are once again on the Monday Night Football. Well, Leicester looked quite down and out, lost again to Man City last night. They 12 points away from safety, lost all 5 of their last games. It's not looking very good. It looks like they will be in the 2nd tier next season. And then Newcastle, already silverware holders this season. Real positive vibe going around at St James's Park. And I do think that this should be pretty easy for Newcastle away at Leicester. And they've just been so good this season, and I feel like they will be playing in the Champions League again next year. But what do I think the score will be? I just can't see Leicester putting up a fight. So I'm actually going to go quite big. I'm going to go 4-1 to Newcastle because I really think they're going to be pushing now for the Champions League spot. Because let's be honest, this European battle is really good. And it probably is the main real battle we've got left now because relegation looks pretty locked in. And so does the title. So yeah, 4-1 to Newcastle. And that concludes the video. I really enjoyed this video, going through all the Premier League games. Always a bit of fun when I do these videos. So yeah, of course guys, let me know your opinions. Remember, it's all about opinions. There's no right or wrong answer. So if you respect my opinions and we can respect yours, it's all good and we're all happy. Because this is a great thing to have opinions and to share our different views and see who's right. And that's the fun thing. But apart from that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Sure, lots more coming out as we're getting into the summer. I'll think of some more ideas. But apart from that, as I said at the start of the video, like, subscribe, do all of that. And one thing left to say. Bye and peace.